there you are. Wanted to talk to you. You and I, you know how sometimes you spend time with people and things. Hmm. I was thinking, I do know some people out here on the surface. A person, actually. Girl I knew in Orzammar. Before I left, obviously. Her name's Felsi. She and I were friends after Branka left for the deep roads. I'm sure she's forgiven me by now. Thought maybe I'd track her down, see how she's been living. I tried to look her up the last time we were at Lake Calenhad. She wasn't at work at the inn. At home with her sick mother, they said. I figured it was just the ancestors telling me something. But I keep thinking about her. Ah, you suspicious sack of pebbles. You always have to think the worst of someone. Ah, you whipped out the knife, didn't you? Look, Elsie and me, we didn't leave things on the best of terms. Yeah, she was jealous of Branka. And she got to be controlling, and Ogren was meant to be free. Know what I mean? Anyway, she couldn't handle everyone wishing they could be with me. So she left. Honest truth. Well, it's my side of the story. I don't give sod all what you believe. So, are we doing this or not? Well, and a good friend you are, Warden. I'll think about you if we ever... no, actually, that would be gross. What was it you wanted to say? Want to be a berserker? Thought I'd never see the day. You're a monster on the field already, Warden. But your style just doesn't give itself to mad rage. Too much thinking, too much, what you call it, finesse. But if you know someone fit for this type of work, I'll teach him. It'll be nice to have another berserker to grunt at for a change. If you want to think like a berserker, drop fair from your vocabulary. If it works, that's all. Aye. All right then.
I've a question, if I may. Well, here's the thing. I swore an oath to serve you, yes? And I understand the quest you're on, and this is all very fine and well. My question pertains to what you intend to do with me once this business is over with, as a point of curiosity. Would I? And what if I didn't wish to leave? Indeed. I might even be glad to call myself such, come to think of it. It is good to know what my options might be, but that is for another time. For now, we have much to do, yes? What say you?
Come to talk to old Ogren, have you? Don't know why. Nothing. Did you want to talk about something? What about? Oh, sure. I'm fine with it. I mean, she was a real firebrand between the sheets, but a bit soft in the skull, you know what I mean? Explains why she left, anyway. Handling what? Bronca? Pfft. That treasure's been long buried. Ancestors take me. You people whine like tea kettles around here. Just leave me alone, Warden. Seriously. Upset? Ugh. I don't get upset. I get drunk. Did you want to talk about something? What about? It's sodding great. First I was a little queasy with all that air, but there's just so much of it. No one has any idea who you are or what you're doing. The ale. Oh, who'd have thought ale made with grain? Aye, the surface is great. It's like a big, bright world of filth without a ceiling. My kind of place. Hey, let's go find something to kill, huh? All this talk makes my hands twitchy. I got a moment, sure. What about? What? Miss Orzammar? Are you mad, in addition to being ugly? They treated me like a puddle fly back there. I'm never going back. Alright. Alright then. I got a moment, sure. What about? You get a sword or an axe, and are told to go out and defend your city. It's the best thing in the world. That is until you try to live in the city you saved. I mean, they train you to kill, teach you to harness your rage at the first noise you hear, then try to set 100 sodding rules about it. Like those provings. Ancestors show their favor through the strongest arm, right? So why so many rules saying how to fight, and when you win, and not to bloody kill? Killing's what swords are for. You can kill with blunted weapons, Warden. Well, maybe you can't. This makes me cranky. Don't you have any other inane questions? Alright. Alright then.
What say you? By all means. Well, the Crows would have you believe that it is an involved process that takes years of training, the sort that tests both your resolve and your endurance. Survive that process and maybe, just maybe, you're good enough to start being considered one of them. But quite frankly, the truth is that all it requires is the desire to kill people for a living. It's surprising how well one can do in such a... Within the Crows, I did. But it has been something the Crows have devoted a great deal of time to perfecting. An assassin simply specializes in striking from stealth, and in maximizing that first attack to be as lethal as possible. Debilitate your foe, either by poison or by crippling their limbs, makes any follow-up combat you need to engage in that much simpler. See? Getting paid for the act is beside the point. An assassin is more a tactical choice than a lifestyle. Of course, the Crows like to pretend that their abilities are trade secrets, shrouded in shadows and wrapped in a blanket of mystery. So let's just keep this between you and me, shall we? What say you? Suppose the Crows are already furious, yes? What harm is another tweak to their nose? If you wish to be trained in the basics of an assassin, I can certainly show you. Or anyone else who is also a rogue. Shall be fun. I will make it fun. Promise. What say you? By all means. Well now, imagine that's a very fair question. Being an assassin, after all, is a living, at least as far as such things go. I was simply never given the opportunity to choose another way. So, if that choice presents itself, why should I not seize upon it? I don't know that I would put it precisely that way. I was but a boy of 7 when I was purchased. For 3 sovereigns, I'm told. Which is a good price, considering I was all ribs and bone and didn't know the pommel of a dagger from the pointy end. The Crows buy all their assassins that way. Buy them young, raise them to know nothing else but murder. You do poorly in your training, die. Of course, compete against your fellow assassins, and those who survive are rightfully proud of it. In Antiva, being a crow gets you respect, gets you wealth, gets you women, and men, or whatever it is you might fancy. But that does not mean doing what is expected of you always. And it means being expendable. The cage, if a gilded cage, pretty, but confining. I fancy many things. I fancy things that are beautiful, and things that are strong. I fancy things that are dangerous and exciting. Would you be offended if I said I fancied? This is good to know. As for what I'll do in the future, presuming that there is one, I truly can't imagine. It might be interesting to go into business for myself, for a change. Far away from Antiva, of course. For now, naturally, I go where you go. And here I am, happy to be had. Isn't it wonderful how things work out that way? Come now, enough chit-chat. Talking about the crows summons them, you know. Any Antivan fishwife could tell you so. All right, but I get to stare at you luridly while you do so. And why not? There are many things to enjoy about being a crow in Antiva. You are respected, you are feared, the authorities go out of their way to overlook your trespasses, even the rewards are nothing to turn your nose up at. As for the killing part, well, some people simply need assassinating. Or do you disagree? I often find myself the instrument of fate, ending these lives for one necessity or another. I console myself with the notion that most of them had it coming. As far as enjoying the act of killing itself, why not? There is a certain artistry to the deed, the pleasure of sinking your blade into their flesh and knowing that their life is in your hands. There are many things I did not enjoy about being a crow, of course. Having no choice, being treated as an expendable commodity, the rules, oh, so many rules. But simply being an assassin, I like it just fine. I will continue to do it if I can, even if I am not a crow. Honestly, could you picture me doing something else? I mean professionally. Or maybe you mean professionally as well. Perhaps you intend to peddle my services to bored Ferelden noblewomen. It is an interesting thought, but I've always removed my clothes strictly on an amateur basis. A talented amateur, of course, but an amateur nonetheless. Of course, all these thoughts are moot. Chances are still good that you and I will perish, eaten by darkspawn or slain by the crows at some point. Very gruesomely, I imagine. But it is pleasant enough to chat about. Come, let's move on while our boots still have some wear in them. What is your desire? All right, but I get to stare at you luridly while you do so. My adventures? I'm hardly an old man just returned from across the ocean, am I? Should I shake my fist at nearby children while I talk about the good old days? You mean you want to hear about the grueling training? Being locked in an oubliette for weeks at a time? Slavery? Festering injuries? Or are we seeking something more glamorous? Well, that should be easy enough, I think. Let's see. My second mission ever for the Crows was a bit intriguing. I was sent to kill a mage who had been meddling in politics. In Antiva, nobody is too important to escape the reach of the Crows. They've killed kings and queens. That is simply how it is. As it turned out, the mage in question was quite a delightful young woman. Long, divine legs, as I recall. I caught her in a carriage on her way to escape to the provinces. After I killed her guard, she got down on her hands and knees and begged for her life. Rather aptly, I'd add. So I joined her in the carriage for the night and left the next morning. Well, yes, twice, actually. Then she decided to try and use me instead. The woman had actually convinced me to speak to the Crows on her behalf. What can I say? I was young and foolish at the time. Then, as I was kissing her goodbye to return to Antiva City, she slipped on the threshold and fell backwards out of the carriage. Broke her neck. Shame, really, but at least it happened quickly. Not actually, no. I was a bit unimpressed by the development at first. Then I found out that she had told the driver to take her to Janellen instead. She had planned to lose me in the provinces. I would have looked very foolish to the Crows. As it was, my master was very impressed that I had done such a fine job of making it look like an accident. The circle of Magi was unaware of foul play, and everyone was happier. Like being spared by a benevolent Mark who then helps me escape from the Crows? Yes, it does seem to happen now and again, doesn't it? It was after that when I learned that one needn't let a pretty face go to your head. Professionalism was key. That's my moral of the day. And one that not everyone learns, I'm sad to say. But that's enough tale spinning from me for the moment. Talking about the mage has made me a bit nostalgic, I'm afraid. Ah, the good old days. What is your desire? All right, but I get to stare at you luridly while you do so. Again. And now, what might interest you, I wonder? Shall I describe the stages involved with Lanthrax poisoning? I watched a man go through all 7 once. No, I'll not inflict that upon you just yet. Let's see. How about the largest battle I ever took part in? That would have been the slaughter of Prince Azrin. Did you hear of that down in these parts? Me? Not personally, but I did take part in the attack. Prince Azrin was 4th in line to the throne, you see. He started off as 11th, but worked his way up the old-fashioned method by inheriting control of an entire Crocell from his grandfather. After assassinating his way through the royal family, the king hired 3 other cells to take down Prince Azrin once and for all. I was in one of those cells. Antivan royalty is very much bound up in the Crows. You wouldn't want it run by a bunch of commoners, after all, would you? This means they get involved in politics quite often. This particular fight nearly bankrupted the nation, I understand. It almost ended up putting a crow on the throne, a commoner. But that's a whole different story. I played a very small part. My part in the entire battle was taken up trying to reach Princess Verina, who had thrown in with her brother. I killed about 11 of her guards personally before I got knocked out of a window. I landed in a river and nearly drowned. I was fished out by some urchins who robbed me blind. Made off with my boots, too. At least they didn't cut my throat. And that was my part in history. It's true. I live a charmed life. One of the prostitutes that raised me was a fortune teller. Said I wouldn't die young. She was rather startled by that. But there you go. Tale told. Let's be off before I tell more embarrassing stories, huh? What is your desire? All right, but I get to stare at you luridly while you do so. Well, the only one that's really worth telling is the story of the mission right before I came to Ferelden. But no, I would rather not. I shouldn't have said anything. Thank you. Perhaps another day, huh? What is your desire? All right, but I get to stare at you luridly while you do so. Oh, you wish to know about Antiva, do you? The only way to truly appreciate it is to go there. A warm place, not cold and harsh like Ferelden. In Antiva it rains often, but the flowers are always in bloom. Or so the saying goes. Every land has assassins. Some are simply more open about their business than others. I hail from the glorious Antiva city, home to the royal palace. A glittering gem amidst the sand, my Antiva city. You come from someplace comparable. Oh, I have never seen that place. I am sure it has its charms, and its dogs. You know what is most odd? We speak of my homeland, and for all its wine and its dark-haired beauties and the lilo flutes of the minstrels, I miss the leather the most. In the smell. For years, I lived in a tiny apartment near Antiva City's leather-making district, in a building where the crows stored their youngest recruits, packed in like crates. I grew accustomed to the stench, even though the humans complained of it constantly. To this day, the smell of fresh leather is what reminds me most of home, more than anything else. Oh, not so long, I know. It's my first time away from Antiva, however. Thought of never returning makes me think of it constantly. Before I left, I was tempted to spend what little coin I possessed on leather boots I spotted in a store window. Finest Antivan leather. Perfect craftsmanship. But I was a fool to leave them. I thought, Zevran, you can buy them when you return as a reward for a job well done. Or the fool I, no? True, and it's a comforting thought. One simply never knows what is to come next. How could I have suspected I would end up defeated by a handsome Grey Warden? A man who then spares my life? I could not. Perhaps that was a poor choice of words. True, though it is. Do you object? And glad I am to hear it. Now, if it is all the same to you, I would prefer not to speak more of Antiva. It makes me wistful and hungry for a proper meal. What is your desire? All right, but I get to stare at you luridly while you do so. I know little enough at the Dalish other than the fact that my mother was one, so I was told. She had fallen in love with an elven woodcutter and accompanied him back to the city, leaving her clan behind for good. And there, of course, the woodcutter died of some filthy disease, and my mother was forced into prostitution to pay off his debts. Oldest tale in the book. A Dalish whore, thank you very much. It was my sole distinction amongst the other elven boys in the whorehouse. I didn't know my mother either, of course. She died giving birth to me. My first victim. We were all raised communally by the whores. It was a happy enough, ignoring the occasional beat. Till eventually I was sold to the crows. I brought a good price, so I hear. That's very kind of you to say, but it is not necessary. It could have been much worse. Shall I tell you about what happened to the other whorehouse boys who did not fetch a decent price with the crows? Surely your life has not been so idyllic. People like you and I are not the product of happy lives of contentment, after all. My original point is that my mother's Dalish nature was always a point of fascination for me. Through all the years of my crow training, the one thing of my mother's that I possessed was a pair of gloves. They were of Dalish make, I knew that much, and beautiful. I had to keep them hidden, of course, as we were not allowed such things. Eventually, they were discovered, and I never saw them again. I don't feel anything about them. Oh, we heard about them in the city, even deep in Antiva. We even had the notion once to run off and join them. Naturally, the reality did not live up at all to the fantasies I had constructed as a boy, staring at those gloves. But such is life. Come, enough talk of the Dalish. Let us move on. Gloves? You're giving me gloves? What for? Maker's breath. You're right. It is like my mother's. The leather was less thick and had more embroidery, but these are very close and quite handsome. Do I seem surprised? Perhaps I am. Still, I appreciate the fact that you even thought of me. No one has simply given me a gift before. That smell. This is Antivan leather, isn't it? I would know that anywhere. I don't know how you found it, but thank you. But I'm not finished admiring them yet. Smell that? Like rotting flesh. Just like back in Antiva City. Now if only you could find me a prostitute. Full of fish chowder and a corrupt politician. I'd really feel like I was home. And the feet as well. Marvelous. Look at you. Your weary stance. The dark circles under your eyes. Poor man. All this constant walking has gotten to you. Do you know what you need? My thought is this. We retire to your tent and I show you the sort of massage skills that one only learns growing up in an Antivan whorehouse. A willing victim it is. And if I might ask, if the opportunity to proceed past the massage should present itself. Then why are we still talking? See? I knew this would happen eventually. I should have warned you right from the moment you refused to kill me. It was inevitable. Oh, such subtlety in your seductive charms that I was not even aware of them. A work of art in motion, perhaps? So then, as the priestess so famously said to the handsome actor, what now? I cannot say that I am surprised. I was raised to be open-minded on such matters. I understand that it is not so with I shall treasure the short time we had together then, and be satisfied that this is all it may be. Let us be on our way, shall we? New day awaits.
Oh, hello. Is there something you wanted to talk about? It's nothing. I'm fine. I'm just thinking. can't get what happened out of my head. I'd been in Lothering for years, and she still thought I was plotting against her. She didn't trust me. Maybe she never did. Loved me when she could use me and control me. And now that she can't, she wants me dead. It hurts to realize that I never really knew her. I knew she was ruthless, but I didn't know how far she could. She is self-serving, cruel. She uses people, then discards them. But that's how she survives in the life she leads. What if she's right? What if we're the same? I should just have stayed in the Chantry. I could have been wrong about the Maker. I know you doubt me sometimes. Maybe you're right. Maybe I just tell myself he's there to console myself, to know there's someone watching out for me, to know I'm not alone. But I was alone and desperate when I fled to Ferelden. I went to the only place I knew would take me. I forgot my life as a bard while I was in the cloister. I felt safe. I didn't have to watch my back all the time. That's what made Marjolaine the person she is, don't you see? It ruined her. It will ruin me too. It already happened. When we killed her, I enjoyed it. Seeing her dead gave me satisfaction. But that is no reason to rejoice over her death. That is what she would do. I don't want that. What we're doing, what we've done, hunted men down, killed them. Part of me loves it. It invigorates me, and this scares me. I feel myself slipping. How can you be so sure? Do you really think so? Hearing you say that gives me comfort. I would like to be alone for now. I have many things to consider. Thank you for listening to me. I happened to be speaking with Zephyrin yesterday. Tells me you two have been met. I don't know what to think. I didn't know you were fond of other men. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I had no idea. A lie? Why would Zevran... Yeah, true enough. Often I do not know what to make of him. Anyway, I'm glad we sorted this all out. I knew there was more to it than what Zev told me. Looking for little old me? Yes? What's on your mind? Looking for little old me?
I have a thought. Ah, such wit! Truly, you and Mother should form a troupe of jesters and tour the countryside. We have an opportunity that I believe we should take advantage of. The point. My mother was once divested of a particular grimoire by a most annoying Templar hunter. It occurred long before I was born, but even today, Flemeth speaks of the loss with great rage. With the circle of magi in such disarray, it occurs to me that this might be the perfect time to recover the tome from their possession, or surely it eventually ended up in their hands? Flemeth is a sorceress of legend, is she not? And her grimoire would be more than a mere curiosity to mages that daren't even glance towards the places my mother has walked for eons. No doubt 'tis considered something dangerous, perhaps best locked away somewhere dark, yes? And if not, then at least I know it does not exist. There is no harm in looking, surely. Here's a book of spells, of the sort that Flemeth has dabbled with throughout her long life. It's not the sort of thing that would benefit a mage of the standard variety. They were taught a different path. I, however, was taught by my mother. I know a way around the wards my mother would have placed on such a tome. I know the language that she would have written it in. I would find such a tome most useful. Useful in the way that it might increase my power. Useful in the way that I would become more useful to you. Does that not follow? It did not occur to me when we were still in the Mage Tower. I wish it had. Truly, Mother has assumed for a long time that the tome was lost forever. I only remembered it now after thinking what treasures might be found in the Circle of Magi's Tower now in its condition. Good. I am most interested to see its contents. Should it be located? The grimoire is leather-bound and adorned with the symbol of a leafless tree, should you come across it. If not, however, then I shall simply put it out of my mind. What? You found Flemeth's grimoire? When I spoke of it to you, I did not truly hope. This is a most fortuitous event. You have my thanks. I will begin study of the tome immediately. I suppose something is deserved for all your efforts, is it not? I do not intend to squander this opportunity to learn more than Flemeth wished me to know. This should be interesting.
Looking for little old me? Yes? What's on your mind?
Tis cold in my tent, all alone. So you shall come to my tent? Whatever shall we do in that tiny little space together while we wait for it to warm? Good. Let's waste no more time with foolish talk. I see the stories they tell of Grey Warden endurance are not exaggerated. Indeed there are. The unanswered question, of course, is whether the endurance exists, the taint within you, because the Grey Wardens are by nature so very healthy. I enjoy the thought that 'tis a little of both. Natural prowess, driven by a darker side. That is entirely up to you. Simply know that I have no designs on your independence. I wish only to do what I desire, and if that coincides with what you desire, then so be it. And should you decide not to continue our misadventure, then so be it. Very simple, is it not? Oh, now you ruin the mood by speaking profanities. Silly man. Come then, let us be off before the others begin to stare.
What say you? By all means. What say you? Oh, this should be good. What would you like to discuss?
Yes.
Yes.
There she is. I'm gonna go talk to her. Look, you gotta back me up here. Got it? You haven't met her, I take it. Just be ready to pry her off when she throws herself at me. We don't want to make a scene here. Well, don't pry her off me too soon. I mean, a little scene's all right. Are you sure you're not a baker? 'Cause you got a sodding nice set of buns.
Akron, is that you?
Yeah, in the flesh, baby.
What are you doing here?
Just trying to kick back with a pint. Fighting darkspawn's a lot of sodding work, you know?
You're fighting Darkspawn?
It was a bit of pain, but it was a personal favor for the King of Orzammar, you understand?
A whole surface to choose from, and you just happened to come to my tavern?
Well, What? Oh, right. It's fate, Felsi. What can I say?
Fate? Ancestors must have a sense of humor then.
Sure they do. You've had a good look at Lady Helmy, haven't you? If her face isn't a joke the ancestors are playing, I'm a Bronto's behind.
So, Lady Helmy must be a paragon of beauty then.
I've been thinking about you, Felsi.
What do you want, Ogren?
Nothing. Just thought I'd see how you were doing is all. Well, maybe that and grease up the Bronto, if you know what I mean.
Well, you've seen me. You'll have to go back to Orzammar for the Bronto. If by fun you mean more likely to light farts on fire, yes.
Oh well, it's been fun, Felsi. But I better go.
Wait, you're leaving? You just got here. I haven't called you a shaft rat yet.
Oh, you can't keep the archdemon waiting. You hurt its feelings, it might just turn the whole blight around and go home. Nobody wants that.
Well, you don't need to fight it right now, do you? I mean, you could have a pint first. Yes, surly Bronto. I can tell you that you smell like nut droppings.
I'll tell you what, I got some things I gotta do, but I'll come back for that pint when things are settled. You frigid deep stalker.
Fine. Better not keep me waiting, you worthless, copper-plated swordcast.
Wouldn't dream of it. I still got it. Were you watching? She could barely restrain herself. Might as well rest up while I can. You ready to go? Aye. All right then.
All right.
I have been studying Mother's grimoire. Do you wish to hear what I have found? Is not what I expected. I had hoped for a collection of her spells, a map of the power that she commands. But this is not it. No, not for nothing. There is much of interest here in her writings, and one thing in particular I find fascinating. Here, in great detail, Flemeth explains the means by which she survived for centuries. Oh, if only 'twere so. Flemeth has raised many daughters over her long lifetime. There are stories of these many witches of the wilds throughout chastened legend, yet I have never seen a one. Always wondered why not. And now I know. They are all Flemeth. When her body becomes old and wizened, she raises a daughter, and when the time is right, she takes her daughter's body for her own. Indeed, that is primarily what this tome details, the various daughters that Flemeth has acquired, their preparation and training. I recognize all of it. I am to be her next host. This is my purpose. Do not be sorry. I am not. I am angry. There is only one possible response to this. Flemeth needs to die. I will not sit about like an empty sack waiting to be filled. Flemeth must be slain, and I need your help to do it. May seem so. If you think of Flemeth as a mother, think of her instead as an ancient abomination that intends to use her own flesh and blood to extend her life beyond all natural limits. She did not wish anyone to get a hold of this information, least of all me. Now I have. If I do not act on what I know, then more the fool am I. And what would that do? At best, I would receive pointless reassurances. At worst, Flemeth would imprison me once she became aware I know what I do. I know my mother well enough to be confident she would show no mercy when it came to her own survival. I must do the same. Then what needs to be done is for you to go back to Flemeth's hut in the Kakari Wilds without me. If I am present when she is slain, I cannot be certain that she will not be able to possess my body right then, so I must remain at the camp. Confront her and slay her quickly. I doubt she would truly be dead even then, but it will take her years to find a new host and recover her power, if that is even possible. The thing I must have is her true grimoire. With it, I can defend against her power in the future. Everything else in her hut is yours. She would like everyone to think she is invincible, but I highly doubt that is the case. And besides that, you are not truly killing her. I am grateful. The sooner this can be done, the sooner it will set my mind at ease.
You have a lot of nerve coming here. Problem? Oh, I got a problem. It's your face. You keep it up and I'll fight you. I don't even care that you're some kind of wool-gnawing poetess. Your disguise can't fool me, woman. That's right. Looking at me like that, I'll just go get my pants from that sodding dog. I got a moment, sure. What about? All right. All right then.
Yes.
Yes. Very well.
And so you return. Lovely Morrigan has at last found someone willing to dance to her tune. Such enchanting music she plays, wouldn't you say? Which one, I wonder? What has Morrigan told you? What little plan has she hatched this time? That she does. The question is, do you? Ah, but it is an old, old story. One that Flemeth has heard before, and even told. Let us skip right to the ending, shall we? Do you slay the old wretch as Morrigan bids, or does the tale take a different turn? The truth, as if it were nothing. How like a man. Oh no. Far better the lie. Far better the comfort of blankets, shadows, and a mother's love. Morrigan wishes my grimoire? Take it as a trophy. Tell her I am slain. You get to keep her for a time. We believe what we want to believe. It's all we ever do. I go. Perhaps I surprise Morrigan one day, or I may simply watch. It would be interesting to see what she does with her freedom, enlightening even. Would you give an old woman that? Shame. What will it be then? It is a dance poor Flemeth knows well. Let us see if she remembers the steps.
Thank the ancestors. Another minute of her cackling and I'd be heaving up breakfast.
Come, she will earn what she takes. I'd have it no other way.
Yes.
Yes. Something you need? I'm sure either my... I'm sure...
By my ancestors.
Generous gift. Interesting. Mother's real grimoire, is it? I am glad you were able to find it after all. My thanks for retrieving it. I shall begin studying it immediately and unlock the power that it holds.
That's a wonder.
I shall treasure it. Thank you.
Are you sure I can't interest you in... I'm sure you...
I enjoy the nights at camp. The night always seems more peaceful to me. Safer. I feel the night grants us a reprieve from the troubles of the day. Silly, isn't it? The darkspawn never sleep, and they lurk in the shadows. I enjoy those nights when we stand guard together, talking to pass the time in those small hours. Well, I talk and you listen mostly. Sometimes I succumb and fall asleep and wake to find you still watchful, and I know you're watching out for me. What I'm trying to say is that I trust you. I'm comfortable around you. I know you'll be there when I need you. You are our leader and my friend, and sometimes I think that maybe It could be more than that. Maker, look at me stumbling over my words like an ill-educated peasant girl. Some bard I am. I'm not embarrassed. I'm just flushed because of the heat. Really? No one told me. You felt the same way and didn't do me the courtesy of informing me? You made me say all those things. Why couldn't you have said them first? Oh, how very awkward. Oh, chivalry is so dead, making the lady spill her guts like that. Well, that settles it then. Do you remember our discussion? I just wanted to tell you that I thought about what you told me, and you were right. Despite what Marjolaine says, I am not like her. I know that now. I have found peace in knowing the Maker, and nothing will change that. I followed you to make the world a better place, and as long as I keep that in mind, I will not fall. Sometimes it takes another to show us the truths we hide from ourselves. I'm glad I left Lothering in your company. You have proven a true friend, and I thank the Maker for you. I see you're still with Morrigan. I thought you said she didn't mean anything to you. What are you playing at? You tell me you like me, that I mean something to you, and you have her on the side? It's not fair to either Morrigan or me. Do you say the same things to her that you say to me? I suppose you need different girls for different days of the week. Morrigan when you want some rough tumbling, Leliana when you need a bedtime story and someone to tell you what a nice boy you are. Just show me some respect. Show us some respect, please. Wonderful people have their limits too. I care for you, more deeply than I can say, but I can't watch you going to her all the time. I am sorry I had to force this on you. I couldn't stand by any longer wondering if I meant anything to you. And I believe you when you say that. We should talk later. It has been some time since I left Lothering. When I stepped out of the cloister, I had no idea where my path would lead. I walked where the Maker led me, and he has rewarded me for my faith. I found you. Yes, talk of the Maker is hardly romantic, is it? But now it's getting late. I think I might turn in early. I can't help thinking about how soft and warm my bedroll is. You're welcome to join me, of course. The Maker says we must share our blessings. Good. Now come with me before I lose my patience. Hello. I've been up for some time, but yes, I slept very well. I've just been watching you sleep. You know your eyelids flutter when you dream, and you have such pretty eyelashes. So I hear. I'm so happy, blissful. I haven't slept so well since I was forced to flee from Orlais. Knowing you will be the first thing I see when I wake gives me no small amount of comfort. I feel safe in your arms. Safe, loved and accepted. This is where I belong. Thank you. I suppose I should get up. We have a long day ahead of us. Come on. Darkspawn await with bated breath for you to put them out of their misery. What are you... Oh, I see. I suppose the Darkspawn will just have to wait a bit longer.
What say you? By all means. Ask away.
There you are. I was thinking, we've been through a lot together now. We're like old war buddies. So I figured why not invite you to share a drink, huh? A drink from my own stash, my family's recipe, dedicated to my comrades in arms. Yes! A warden steps up. How do you feel? That's the spirit. I just wanted to tell you, after all we've been through, you're like family to me. Closest thing I've had in years. Oh, Warden, I do believe I'm getting all misty-eyed. But that could be because those beans are getting chatty, if you know what I mean. So, do you want to talk about something? What about? I do. A bit. A little bit. When I was there, I thought it was a muckhole full of backstabbing, tin-plated would-be tyrants. But it's also home. Flies live in piles of dung, but I bet they'd miss it when they're gone. Still, I can't go back even if I wanted to. I'd rather be dead than be castless in Orzammar. I guess I'd rather be a useless lump of a dwarf out here than a useless lump of a dwarf back there. I see you, Warden. But I know what side of the house the Lou is on. Hey, let's go find something to kill, huh? All this talk makes my hands twitchy.
You're quite taken with each other, aren't you? I've seen the way she looks at you, familiarity with which you speak. She always finds a way to place herself next to you. I've noticed your blossoming relationship, and I wanted to ask you where you thought it was going. Eliana is a remarkable girl, sincere and guileless, and she has opened her heart. I would not like to see her hurt. I am worried about you both. There is great potential for tragedy here. Love is ultimately selfish. It demands that one be devoted to a single person, who may fully occupy one's mind and heart to the exclusion of all else. A Grey Warden cannot afford to be selfish. You may be forced to make a choice between saving your love and saving everyone else. And then what would you do? Nothing is certain. Not in these times. You cannot take anything for granted. I want you to be aware of this. If you insist, I have given my advice. Do with it what you will. What's on your mind? I have watched you for a time, and perhaps I was wrong. There seems to be something special between the two of you. I think she feels she's truly found her place with you, that after all her wanderings, she's finally home. I think I was too harsh in my judgment before, and I am sorry. What you have may not last forever. Death and duty may part you, but love's worthiness is not diminished because of that. I should have seen this before. Instead, you learn to cherish every precious moment that you spend together, knowing that it may be the last. And for those of us watching, it brings warmth to these old bones to know that something so beautiful can be found in the midst of chaos and strife. What's on your mind? I will answer to the best of my ability.
Well, aren't you sweet and attentive? Of course. Yes, a little better. Time heals all wounds, so they say. Scars remain, but they are just colors in the painting that is my life, no? I wish things had happened differently, but knowing her and knowing me, I don't think it could have. We had good times, though, and I look back on those fondly. Whatever happened after will never change the truth of the past. It's not so bad. Look, now I have new friends, a new family. In spite of it all, life is good. Well, aren't you sweet and attentive? Of course. I have not given this a lot of thought. What will I do? We've traveled far and wide. Does it need to end? There's so much out there. Adventures to be had and stories to be told. I want to be part of it all. I might need some company. And you're not too irritating. You're welcome to come along if you like. It is settled then. You and I wandering the world, seeking our fortunes. I can't wait. Well, aren't you sweet and attentive? Of course. There are many rumors about spies, or legion or otherwise. What are you referring to exactly? I admit I have done many despicable things in my lifetime. I do what I have to do. So do you. So does everybody. Sometimes we must do terrible things to get what we want. If it is any consolation, I always try to use non-violent means to achieve my ends. Some bards rely on torture to get what they want. It works effectively, as many will bend under the threat of bodily harm. But there are better ways, more subtle and kind. You will be surprised how easily a person will open up to you, even if all you offer is a listening ear. People respond eagerly to others who they believe understand them. They seek approval, friendship, sometimes love. This can be exploited. It is a game, one that can be won with little bloodshed if one plays well. Isn't it? Everyone can be seduced by the right woman. The trick is predicting who she is and becoming her. Master the game, and no one can resist you. If I might be so bold, I was quite good at it. Sometimes, all I had to do was toss a glance and a smile. Men read promises into such things, and will go to great lengths to see that promise fulfilled. I could... what? Oh, aren't you funny? I see your point. We will slay this darkspawn using conventional means, pointy sticks and all that. But come, it is getting late, and there is much to be done.
No need to say it. I can read your intentions from your expression. Naturally. To tell it truly, she is far more suited to you. So then, go and revel in your domestic bliss. Even if it did, would either of us notice? We have better things to do than dwell on the past. Let us not speak of this again. I await your command.
Yes.
Yes. When you're ready, we shall leave for Denerim. Excellent. I shall make the arrangement. Let us be off to Denerim. May the Maker watch over us. Denerim is the heart and soul of Ferelden. It was the city of King Calenhad, the birthplace of Andraste. As stubborn as a Mabari, and as good to have on your side. If we defeat Loghain here, the rest of the nation will follow us. By calling the Landsmeet, I've struck the first blow. The advantage for the moment is ours. He will have little choice but to show himself, to oppose us directly. He will strike back at us. The only question that remains is how soon. Loghain, this is an honor, but the Regent would find time to greet me personally.
How could I not welcome a man so important as to call every lord in Ferelden away from his estates, while a blight claws at our land?
The Blight is why I'm here. With Cailan dead, Ferelden must have a king to lead it against the Darkspawn.
Ferelden has a strong leader. Its queen. And I lead her armies. And who is this, Eamon? Some new stray you picked up on the road? Here I thought it was only royal bastards you played the nursemaid.
Well, you're admitting the royal part. That's
The Kuzlans are dead. The Terran of Highever belongs to the House, and rightfully so.
You are either very bold or very stupid to threaten the Terran before witnesses.
Enough, Carthrian. It is not the time or place. I had hoped to talk you down from this rash course, Eamon. Our people are frightened. Our king is dead. Our land is under siege. We must be united now if we are to endure this crisis. Your own sister, Queen Rowan, fought tirelessly to see Ferelden restored. You see her work destroyed? You divide our nation and weaken our efforts against the Blight. Selfish ambitions to the throne. Halen depended on the Grey Warden's prowess against the Darkspawn, and look how well that ended. Speak of reality rather than tall tales. Stories will not save us.
I cannot forgive what you've done, Loghain. Perhaps the Maker can, not I. Our people deserve a king of the Theron bloodline. Alistair will be the one to lead us to victory in this.
Oh, is that all I have to do? No pressure.
Emperor of Orlais also thought I could not bring him down. Expect no more mercy than I showed him. There's nothing I would not do for my homeland.
Well, that was bracing. I didn't expect Loghain to show himself quite so soon. I would not ask you to. But bear in mind that he will be well protected by his alliance with me. He always seemed the kind of man who enjoyed kicking stray dogs. I would not have thought Loghain would trust him. You need eyes and ears in the city. Loghain has been here for months. The roots of all his schemes must begin here. The sooner we find them, the better we can turn them to our advantage. Go have a look around, and see what you can turn up. Better yet, find the nobles who have arrived for the Landsmeet. Test the waters. See how many will support us. When you're ready to talk strategy, come upstairs to my sitting room. We can lay out our plans for the Landsmeet then.
Is it true there's a prince among the Isle's visitors?
Janet?
All right.
Doesn't look all that princely to me.
We better not see one speck of black on those loads, Corella, or it's back to the scullery with you.
Ah, Warden. I trust you've made yourself comfortable. Good, because it's likely to be your last rest for a while. This is Erlina. She's...
I am Queen Enora's maiden. She sent me here to ask for your help.
Or perhaps the young lady prefers to speak for herself.
The Queen, she is in a difficult position. She loved her husband, no, and trusted her father to protect him. When he returns with no king and only dark rumors, what is she to think? She worries, no? But when she tries to speak with him, he does not answer. Tells her not to trouble herself. So she goes to how? Is it from the Queen to the new Isle of Denrum? Only a matter. And she demands answers. He calls her every sort of name, traitor being the kindest. Locks her in the guest room. The palace guard besiege House Estate. My lady will certainly be killed before they can reach her. I think her life is in danger. I heard Hal say she would be a greater ally dead than alive, especially if her death could be blamed on Al-Iman.
We may have no choice but to trust Honora. The Queen is well loved. Loghain succeeded in pinning her death on me. I'm not sure that's a risk we can afford to take.
I have some uniform. Al-Hal has so many new girls every day. A few more will not cause much stir. I will show you to the servants' entrance. We must slip in and out with my queen before anyone is the wiser. I will go ahead to House Estate. Meet me there as soon as you can.
I'm glad you decided to help. With Honora's knowledge, we have a far better chance again. She's obviously more than a maidservant, but I imagine it's useful for Honora to have a trusted attendant who can move more freely than she herself. And consider what aid she and the Queen might be to us. If Honora has truly turned against her father, she becomes the one thing we lack. Someone with a true understanding of Loghain's plans and allies. With her guidance, we can form a far more successful strategy against him. No more easily than without you there. There will be none to see it, save those who are already loyal to Loghain. Given your reputation, Warden, I think Loghain knows it's safer to carry out his plots far from where you can disrupt them. She and Kaelin were promised as children and practically raised together. She was a smart child, knew how to listen, and how to blink those big blue eyes and get anything she wanted. Mother's looks, her father's brains, the best tutoring Merrick's money could buy. It's a potent combination. From Alina's story, he turned against her first. If he truly intends to sacrifice her, I think it will be strong motivation to break the parental bond. In any event, I would far rather have the opportunity to ask such things of her than simply hear about her. If Honora speaks out against Loghain, hers would indeed be one of the most powerful voices of the Landsmeet. As you like. My palace is your palace.